Okay.
All right.
Uh, Time is 6:30. I call this meeting of the Public Works Committee to order. Ben, would you mind doing roll call?
Yeah, absolutely. Chair Lang,
Present?
Member Canor,
Here.
Member Bechtel, Member Reinhardt,
Here.
Alder Myers,
Present.
Alder Madden,
Here.
and Member Guthrie.
Yes.
All right, thank you. We'll start with our first agenda item, which is approval of the minutes from our last meeting. Does anybody have, oops, hold on a second. Alder Myers, you have the floor.
Oh, yeah. Just for this agenda item specifically, we received well, Ben, Luke, and I received some email communication from Ginny Corwin, who was confused about the specific intent of the motion that we sent to Plan Commission. Uh, it is my understanding of our discussion and the motion uh, that because potential changes which might remove pedestrian and bicycle and car conflicts at the driveway of that intersection, um, or at the driveway that feeds onto Allen, might potentially involve significant changes to layout, that we delegated that specific fix to Plan Commission. And that's what the deconfliction wording meant. Kim, I think we had an exchange specifically about where Public Works jurisdiction ended and where uh, Plan Commissions began. And you're nodding your head yes, but you're muted.
Yeah, sorry, my dog's being kind of chatty. So
Oh.
like here's a bone, dude, go lay down. We did have a discussion about that. I can't but I can't recall if that was part of the, like, did that end up in the minutes? Is that why we're
Um,
Minutes
so
discuss deconflicting with Allen Boulevard entrance and multi-use path.
yeah.
That's all it
yeah,
says about that particular topic.
yeah, Ginny's email, she seems to not understand that the intention of the motion was for Plan Commission to take up that issue. Um, so if staff want to add clarifying language um, to the minutes based on our email correspondence, Ben, would you be?
Yeah, so staff got that message as well, and we'll work to make sure we can kind of clarify that language in the minutes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, just as an addendum to the motion. The motion text itself is accurate. I went back and checked the video.
Yeah, that's not the decision, correct?
And members, just an FYI, I'm muting the room every so often because we have some feedback with the audio here, so we have the echo. So I'm trying to stop that.
We want to take a pause to correct that, or
They have a new microphone system in here, so I have no idea how
okay.
it's working. So
We'll try to get through it.
yes.
You hear? Okay.
Yeah, this happened at Conservancy Lands last week too.
It's a thing.
Okay. So to summarize, Ben is going to edit the minutes to clarify that one particular point. We're not changing anything on the motion. It's just about what's going to be sent to Planning Commission.
That's correct.
All right. Moving on to the next agenda item. Number one, agreement with New Singular Wireless PCS LLC for a tower and ground space lease. Ben,
Thank you, Chair. I'll take this. So this is a cell tower lease that is similar to the agreement that the city has with T-Mobile that was approved in 2025. Just want to call out the rent escalation clause that is tied to the rate of inflation, similar to the agreement that we had with T-Mobile. So this has been approved by the city attorney. He's reviewed this agreement. Available for any questions, but this is for a tower located in the Conservancy, the water tower there.
One comment I have is this is common with all communities that lease their towers. I mean, there's almost every city because it's the high spot in the city. So it's ideal for towers. And I'm sure this agreement also states to evaluate structural integrity of the building as the tower goes up, but it's already there. And
Yes.
you get that. So
Yeah.
Should be fine.
Yep, this is a renewal of the lease. It's existing equipment.
any major changes to the language in the agreement?
No, so it's similar to, or actually carbon copy of the T-Mobile agreement that we approved, with the major change being the rent escalation clause that we altered the language to mirror what was in the T-Mobile agreement.
Alder Myers?
Yeah, I'm just glad that we're protecting ourselves as a utility against inflation on this one. So I'm happy to see it in the contract going forward. Thank you, Ben, for your work with Matt on this.
I'll make a motion that the Public Works Committee, acting as the Board of Directors for the water utility, recommend approval of the AT&T lease to the Finance and Personnel Committee and Common Council.
Myers, second.
Attorney's already reviewed.
Yes.
All right, Don made a motion and I heard Alder Myers second it. Is there any more discussion or questions on this? Okay, we'll move on to a vote. All those in favor of passing the motion, please say aye.
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 Any opposed? The motion's approved. And our next agenda item is concrete repair determination of deficiencies. Ben?
Thank you, Chair. I'll take this as well. So this is a standard action that the committee takes every year. So as part of our concrete removal project or concrete repair project, per state statute, the Public Works Committee needs to determine that the concrete that we are replacing and repairing is deficient. So that's what the list is that you'll see in your packet. So in order for us to take corrective action, the committee needs to approve it. So then we can address these concrete pairs and then bill the appropriate homeowner as needed.
Alder Myers?
Yeah, I had two things. First, Brad, could you go into detail about the sorts of deficiencies that might prompt a sidewalk, a section of sidewalk to be marked as deficient, and what the process for determining which homes have those is that the city's following, just for the record?
Yeah, we have a certain spec we have to, everybody can hear me, correct?
Yes.
Okay. We have a certain spec we have to meet. I believe it's within a half inch if it's raised, then we have to shave down the sidewalk so it's safe for pedestrians. And anything after that, we try to replace the sidewalk. A lot of this stuff happens when we have mature trees around the area, and we try to protect the trees by removing the sidewalk and replacing it. Tom Weber's been taking this, he's been doing this project for the last, I believe, 3 or 4 years. And so he would have more information if you guys have questions on it. But he's the one that goes out, he determines where we're going to be at, what needs to be marked out, what needs to be replaced. He sends me lists during the winter so we can make ramps on those sidewalks before they're able to be replaced. Items like that.
Okay, thank you. It's not it's not addressable on this agenda item, but I did have a constituent reach out to me about the policy specifically, for what happens if that person can prove that the damage to the sidewalk square in front of their home was caused by a specific party. In this case, it was an individual who used heavy equipment that the sidewalk absolutely was not rated for on the sidewalk square. The constituent said that they had, uh, at the time, Ring doorbell footage and some other documentary evidence, but the city's policy in place at the time was just it's in front of your house, therefore it's your problem. Uh, so I don't it's not that constituent is not on this list. But that is something that I think we might want to take up at a later date as a policy item.
We can definitely plan on bringing the policy to the committee for review.
Does it say on here what the financial responsibility is? Is it like a split cost?
Jesse.
Sidewalks is full, if I remember right,
100%?
100% unless it's caused by a city terrace tree, then it goes to 50%. Am I remembering that correctly?
I'm not sure exactly, but I know we have some type of split thing.
Yeah,
There is an issue.
yeah, because the terrace trees do a heck of a lot of damage on sidewalks, and that's been brought up several times, so I believe it's 50-50 in that case. But 100%, it's just damage to.
So the cost that's allocated, it says allocated amount, that's the construction contract cost.
Correct.
We're paying a contractor to go do all these.
Correct. Yeah.
It's a reduced price if they do a bunch of them at once.
Yes.
That gets billed to the owners, right?
Yeah.
Thank you for clarifying.
And we do have a policy that kind of spells out all angles of this, and it was last looked at by Public Works in 2021. So we can bring it back to see if there's updates for like what Aldermeyer suggested.
Okay. All right, so does anyone want to make a motion? I could do it.
Looking at the agenda item, I don't.
Are we not doing a motion on this one? It says
Yeah.
staff recommends the committee determine the need for corrective action.
Yeah, so I think the motion would be that the committee determines that these sidewalk sections are deficient and corrective action is needed.
I can make that motion. I never do that. I move that the committee determine that we do need corrective action to address these deficiencies. Concrete abutting the properties listed on the project spreadsheet included in the agenda packet.
All seconds.
The motion's been made and seconded. Anyone have any questions or comments? Mary?
I just wanna make sure I understand correctly. So the city determined these, and it sounds like it's the same person that's been doing this for a period of time, so probably has a good grasp on which things need to be shaved down and how to repair it, but we haven't seen the updated cost sheet on it. So the motion right now is just saying that we need to take corrective action, but we haven't determined what, if any, updates need to be made to the policy, or
For the
paying, who's gonna pay for it? You just said it was updated in 2021, is that right?
right. So in 2021, the policy which lays out how costs are divided That was done in 2021. Right? That hasn't been updated.
Okay.
Yeah.
Does that answer your question?
Yeah, I guess just trying to identify if the homeowners are not the ones that are saying that it needs to be fixed, but that they're gonna be on for the cost. It would be nice to be able to see that alongside, but if this will come back and we'll get a chance to look at it, then I don't have any other questions.
I don't know if it'll come back,
Or like, we're gonna see the updated.
the final
list.
costs, once we get
Yeah,
estimates in, okay.
I was thinking,
Yeah, but
Sounds-
that's been the standing policy for
okay,
a long, long time. that Homeowners pay for this.
Yeah, but they have no say as to if it's required or not.
right,
Correct.
I think that's what Mary's getting at.
yeah,
It's like,
Uh,
does this come as a shock to any owners
Always,
if they have a huge section of sidewalk getting-
always,
and they get a bill for a few $1,000s?
always.
That's why we have a policy.
Yes, right. It's in the policy and, yeah,
And I think Brad explained it a little bit. It's for a reason. There's like a
most of them are safe.
tolerance. Yeah, safety reason for tolerances that, yeah, okay.
Just like damaged sections of sidewalk as well, same thing, safety reasons and longevity.
for the trees that are planted that could potentially bring the sidewalk to go like this. That are on that piece of city-owned property, that, I guess that's where,
I think that's a 50% split. If that's
Yeah,
the case.
if that's
But
the case,
I
okay.
don't hold me to that. I'm just
I'll-
going by memory, but,
I can-
so.
inform myself too, I didn't look this up prior, but. Okay, thank you, my questions are answered.
Okay. Any other questions? All right, we'll move to a vote. All those in favor of passing the motion, please say aye.
I,
Aye.
Aye. Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, the motion passes unanimously. Item number 3 is consideration, discussion, and possible action on release of liability agreements. Ben?
Thank you, Chair. I'll kick this off, but Office Manager Jesse and Assistant Director Popwood both worked on this. So when we have homeowners associations that are on private driveways, the city and Pelletieri will get a release of liability document or agreement with the HOAs to allow for city vehicles to travel on these private roads to hold the city harmless for any damage that might occur. So staff have recently been running into some issues. So Jesse thought it best to maybe update our agreements, our standard agreements that we have with HOAs, and then the intent being to roll out these agreements to every HOA in the city. So Jesse, I'll let you kind of give an overview of what you're looking to change.
Okay, thank you. This all started, it essentially started when HOAs kind of retaliated against Pelletieri. They started putting up rocks on their driveways or around corners because Pelletieri's equipment was too big to maneuver there. So this came into waive liability from Pelletieri, the city, for damage if they wanted their garbage picked up. But then individuals started to block passages. And now we're getting more private roads and more people want the services. And we're starting to see, infighting between HOAs and individuals. Individuals don't want the service there, but HOAs are approving it. And I've been telling them that's between them. But I found our first agreements have no expiration dates. So they're essentially good forever. And then there's really no one who's specifically in charge of saying yes or no to these things, which is one thing I wanted to correct by putting the streets foreman, considering he's got a lot of experience in the city. He knows how the equipment works and how the routes are run. And then the other thing is equality. There's certain private neighborhoods that have a few roads that are accessible, but a few roads that aren't. So Brad can speak on this. We tried working with a few developments so they could have staging areas and such. But that turned into a mess very quickly because people were stacking more. They were overflowing brush into places it shouldn't have been. And then they were getting mad at the city for not being able to pick it up or go into areas. So this is just looking to correct some of this. Sean Stowski, he created one of his agreements just so we could keep working. I want to say back in 2022 is when we first did this. But now it's starting to eat up a lot of staff time, office time, because there's really no central decision maker and they keep going around to different places. So we're kind of looking for a little backing from the Public Works Committee, taking their input if they have any, adjusting the liability agreement. And I'll let Brad speak if he's got anything to add.
No, I think you hit it pretty well there. And I'll just add in the only thing I'll add in is we have found a lot of safety concerns with private areas due to the size of their roads and the size of our equipment, not just for our equipment or our personnel, but also their infrastructure.
Myers has his hand up.
Thanks. Alder Myers.
Hi, yeah, thanks. So I'm looking at this. Jesse, this is great. Thank you for being proactive about this and trying to free up staff time. I have a question about item 2D. Owner of this document, one of the two signees will be responsible for notifying Public Works when pickup is needed for leaves/brush the week before the assigned quadrant is scheduled. Please follow the city website for most up-to-date information on city pickup dates as they are based on weather and workload. And then E, the streets foreman will inspect the neighborhood and or private roads to ensure city equipment can be safely maneuvered in the requested area. The city will not pick up any brush or leaves that is cut by a contractor. These factors may change and agreements are subject to termination at any time. My question is, I appreciate that we are specifically calling out the fact that the city's service is not as clean up for contractors. And I agree with putting that specific part of our brush collection policy in the agreement just to make sure that they read it and understand it and have absolutely no excuse for saying that they were unaware. In one of those two sections, I would also incorporate by reference our brush and leaf collection policies, and that those policies are themselves subject to change, but the pickups will be done with in conformity to those policies with the exceptions that this is occurring on private property with the pre-inspection of the area spelled out as the only exceptions. That way we're making sure that they're only putting out suitable brush, that their leaves are properly stacked, that the brush is properly stacked, and that they are affirmatively agreeing that they'll do that as we perform this service for them at taxpayer expense.
Just private roads, correct?
Correct.
How much brush and leaves do we pick up on alleys?
The current subdivision, Brad, can you refresh my memory on the current subdivision that caused the issue with us only accessing a few roads?
That would have been up by Baskerville Woodland Trail.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah, the thing that came up is they want their brush picked up. We can get around one block, but then there's one road that goes down
I know,
That-
private road.
that doesn't have a, yeah, so.
That's also on Conservancy Lane, Jesse. That was the one that we had. We cannot turn our trucks around in Conservancy Lane.
Privacy lane. Thanks, Brad. But yeah, there's been different variant issues
Okay.
depending on the neighborhood and what they do.
Yeah, I know in ours, it's not on the street, it doesn't get picked up, which is great. And Pelletary does their thing. And being a past member of the board, I fielded several phone calls with complaints about Pelletary, and we said, it's not your land. It's our right of way. We have 8-foot right of ways on either side of the alley. And so we said you can put stones, but not big stones. Pelletary's got to get through. So anyway. You live on a corner.
Yeah. But this kind of makes sense in my situation. There's taller trucks are hitting a tree that was like
Oh.
hanging over the alley.
Sure.
So I had to take the tree down. But I'm trying to think in this situation, what this agreement would do is basically the association would sign it,
Yes.
not me as an individual.
Correct.
I see there's language in here that kind of ties me to it though, which is fine. It just would prevent an owner from going back to Pelletary for damages to that tree, right? Basically, what you're saying.
Correct. And the owners of the agreement, as stated, Alder Myers brought that up. The two people who sign, whether it be the president, vice president, however, their organizations, those are the people who need to call the week before. We get multiple calls from multiple people. And once again, excessive phone calls. The same people will call me on Monday and they'll call Shanae on Tuesday.
Yep.
And then we're letting Chase know, and he's like, they already told me. So we're trying to minimize
Sure.
that.
Alder Myers?
Yeah, just in the spirit of minimizing that, and you'll have to forgive me, Jesse, if you put this in and I missed it. But it might make sense to have a clause in there. The owner of this agreement, by which we mean, the HOA Condo Association, shall cause this agreement to be disseminated to members of the HOA, and then specify how, whether we want to do it annually, once every 2 years, once every 3 years, but just to make sure they get that periodic reminder from their HOA so that we don't have multiple HOA members who are not aware of this calling staff.
Yeah, this agreement isn't meant to stop us from collecting. It's just here to protect us. By all means, we want to collect wherever we can. It's just sometimes it's hard fighting against residents and HOAs when they take different stances.
Oh, I completely agree. I just want to make sure that when we're protecting us, we're protecting the use of our staff time as well. And we're making sure that the members of the HOA are, if they don't like it, blaming and contacting the appropriate party. And one of the ways to do that is by making the HOA make them aware of the agreement.
Have a
That's
clarify.
good. Yeah.
Yeah.
So what do you need from us at this point?
We're just seeking approval and feedback at this point. If you'd like, we can incorporate the suggestions of the committee and then come back, or we can incorporate it knowing that we'll make those changes and have it be approved. But this is just Public Works level approval. So
Okay.
I have a question for clarification, maybe to Jesse.
Sure.
This seems to be only limited to city and the contractors that the city already has an agreement with. So if a private owner hires like a roofing company to come in and damages their neighbor's property, this would not apply in that situation. Is that correct?
correct. Yeah.
This is strictly for city and only contractors that the city engages with.
Correct. Yeah.
We're protecting a smaller group.
Yes.
More specifically, just brush and leaf collection with our street crews and Pelletary.
Okay.
Pelletary was the first to run into the problem.
I think that it's a good thing that it's a very limited, narrow
Yeah.
scope
Yeah.
protecting contractors.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm in agreement with this. I don't have any
No comments.
conditions or concerns about
No,
it. Does anybody on the committee?
other than what Charles has already mentioned, and you too, making sure the residents know the HOA passes it on to the residents.
Yeah, I don't know what that exactly looks like.
It would be in a letter or an email blast, which nobody reads.
But the HOA board would be signing on the owner's behalf, right?
Yeah.
Be signing.
Yeah, well, it's HOA property, so yeah.
Alder Myers,
I move approval of the City of Middleton Municipal Services Release of Liability Agreement, subject to the incorporation of comments by the Public Works Committee and City Attorney approval.
I will second that.
all right. We have a motion and a second. Any other comments or questions?
No.
All right, we'll move on to a vote. All those in favor of passing the motion, please say aye.
Hi.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Next agenda item is number 4, liaison briefings. Mary, I think you go first.
Sure. So I had a Conservancy Lands meeting last week, and there was more discussion about the concept for the trailhead off of Century Avenue. One of the things that came up was the question of whether power lines will get buried around Century Avenue. There was just an open-ended question that I wanted to bring to this committee, because I don't know if we've talked about burying power lines. That might be also something I can mention for future agenda items, like where would be priority. Obviously, they're putting in, the utility is doing work around that area, so this is why that came up. And then the other item that was discussed is that if easements in the Conservancy are necessary for the utility work, that will also be something that's discussed. And that's all I have to share from that meeting.
Okay, thank you.
Uh,
Don?
Water Resources, we had a presentation by MSA on how to control stormwater flows out of Graver Pond and how that gets across the new subdivisions as well as under High Road. They selected a trench method, but there still is a crossing at High Road, and that Public Works then and that design team for High Road will have to coordinate with MSA on that. That was the key thing. We talked about phosphorus removal, but that's not worth bringing up.
All right, thank you. Right, next thing would be future meeting agenda items, so we'll go around. We'll start with the people online. Alder Madden, do you want to go first?
Yeah,
Any
I have
items?
nothing.
Okay, Alder Myers,
Pass.
pass. Tim, do you have anything?
Yeah, so just want to make a suggestion here. Thinking about past projects and just projects in a whole, what might be beneficial moving forward is doing a postmortem or lessons learned. Two projects just off the top of my head, I think of Allen and Century, the intersection project might be a good one to sit down and put together a list of, what worked, what went well, what didn't, where can we improve, or every time all of our projects where I'm from, we do a postmortem and we learn a lot from them. In just continuous improvement. Yeah, I think this would be good. The other project would be Century and Q lights. I think that was done roughly the same time, correct?
Yeah, that was the same project.
Yeah, I think those two would be a great, or that one as a whole would be a great postmortem. So,
Okay, anything else, Tim?
That's all I have right now.
Okay. Gayatri?
Nothing as of now.
Okay. And in here, Mary, do you have anything?
Yes, I would like to propose a standing agenda item for the Public Works and the Ped Bike and Transit joint meetings for a review of all reported pedestrian bicycle vehicle collisions in the city over the previous 12 months, for which reports are available. Just, I think, to get everyone on the same page about that. And then following off of the liaison report, I think it would be helpful to know what the timeline is for burying power lines, like in which areas of the city we can expect different projects.
Okay. John?
Well, while we bring that up, we should know what MG&E's rules are, because we have no control over those power lines. Absolutely zero unless we pay for it.
Which I understand. Abby Attune at the Chamber of Commerce meeting like 2 months ago brought up during the meeting, like that there's a future project where all the power lines on University Avenue up through Park Street would
Yeah.
get under, but I wasn't sure what the scope was. And as a member of this committee, I was curious if
Okay.
that's something that's being discussed, like when we could expect that discussion to come in here as well.
Okay.
Good.
I'm excited about the joint meeting.
Yeah, we could have a representative from MG&E who we work closely with, maybe kind of give an overview of what these look like and what the costs are and everything like that. So we certainly can do a little presentation on that.
Okay.
That would be good.
Yeah.
I got the input because don't have a lot of control. We can ask.
Yeah.
There might be reasons that they do it anyway. If the infrastructure's so old or something.
Yeah.
Do you have anything else, Don?
Nope.
I don't have anything. We've reached the end of the agenda.
Alder Myers may have some heat pass.
Yeah, Ben, I'll email you mine.
Okay. I have a staff list that I included that I could kind of just go over some
Sure.
highlights. So just for the committee's knowledge, so the next meeting on May 11th will be a joint meeting with the Water Resources Management Commission, or committee.
Commission.
My apologies. So this joint agenda topic will be the discussion of costs associated with pedestrian and bike improvements and how the stormwater utility should pay for them and how that discussion should be happening. Also at that meeting, the executive director of the Madison Metropolitan Sewage District, Eric Dundee, will give a kind of a brief overview of kind of what's going on at the plant and their plans for the future. We will have a summary of the Old Creek Road and Pheasant Branch Road traffic calming public information meeting and next steps on that project. We expect to have in the month of May the water utility staff retention plan. I believe on the meeting on the 11th, we will have a discussion of a Safe Streets for All grant application. And also in the month of May, we'll have the 5-year streets plan and an update to the TIA guidelines.
Okay.
So quite a bit.
Over the whole month of May, or are you going to cram that all into the 11th?
We'll spread that over.
I'm just trying to figure out if I should bring a sleeping bag.
You're always welcome to bring us back. But yes, we will try and spread that out, and I'll discuss with the chair on how to best split those agenda items up.
Alder Myers?
I changed my mind on emailing. So the workforce housing committee recently took up barriers to and additional costs to development projects in the city. I would like us to take up I would like as an agenda item a conversation about streamlining development processes and timelines within Public Works.